There's a reason you stumbled upon this video. It's no accident. Something inside you has been awakened. A feeling that someone, somewhere, is on their way to you. Not just anyone, not a simple match, but the person written for your soul. What if what you thought was a void in your life was actually the preparation for a miracle? What you're about to hear might just change the way you view waiting. Because this isn't just a love story, it's a divine encounter. And maybe it's beginning. Now, 1. Why aren't you with him, her yet? Close your eyes for a moment. Not to distance yourself from the world, but to reconnect with it from within. There's this question you don't really dare ask out loud anymore. Why am I still alone? You sometimes ask yourself this in the middle of the night, or just after seeing two strangers holding hands in the street. You smile, you pretend it doesn't affect you. But deep down, there's this sigh that no one hears. A sigh addressed to Allah, in a silence heavier than 1,000 words. But maybe this question isn't the right one. And maybe it's not that you're alone, maybe you're simply preparing. You see, in the language of the world, waiting rhymes with lack. But in the language of the divine, waiting rhymes with refinement. What you call an unjust wait, Allah calls an invisible elevation. What you are experiencing is not a void. It is a secret workshop, a sacred place between you and your Creator. It is in this solitude that you are becoming the person capable of loving. But not just any old way. To love without becoming attached to the detriment of your soul. To love without losing your way. To love for God, with God, in God. And that is rarer than a simple marriage. What you are waiting for is not temporary companionship. It is not a hand to hold only when you are afraid. What your soul craves, even if you've never said it clearly, is someone who will see you in your vulnerability and who won't run away. Someone who will love you not only in your light but also in your dark areas. Someone who won't glorify your image, but who will love your essence. Someone who will stay, not because they need you, but because they have sincerely chosen what God has placed within you. But for such a person to enter your life, you yourself first had to learn to no longer run away from your own depths. Do you know what that means? This means that as long as you are afraid of your own emptiness, as long as you refuse to face your wounds, as long as you still wore masks to be loved, Allah, in His mercy, protected you from a love that would have been an illusion. Yes, protected. It's not that you were forgotten. It's that you were sheltered. Sometimes, when we pray for a spouse, we don't realize that we're still in a state where that love would do us more harm than good. You don't see what Allah is building because it's an internal construction site, not visible on Instagram. But sometimes you feel signs. The strange fatigue when you try to force a relationship. That sadness after accepting too little. That feeling that this isn't it. Even if everything seems right, it's not instability. It's your soul refusing to betray itself again. There's something few people understand. Being ready to love isn't about knowing how to give. It's about having learned to receive. And receiving divinely intended love requires you to be empty of everything that's false. Empty of the obsession with validation. Empty of destructive comparisons. Empty of the fear of being alone forever. Empty of anger at your past. You are healing. Even if it's slow. Even if you sometimes cry thinking that nothing is moving forward. Healing isn't spectacular. It's silent. It happens between you and God. In those moments, no one sees. In the nights when you fall asleep with tears you hide from everyone, except the one who created you. You haven't met him or her yet, because it's not yet the moment when your heart will recognize him or her, not on the surface, but in that inner peace that never deceives. What if the greatest proof that this person is coming was precisely this emptiness you feel today? Because Allah doesn't make you feel a deep thirst, without there being water being prepared somewhere. Perhaps it's not a delay, it's an encounter, being written in the invisible. And this is only the beginning. The story of a broken heart. It was a few years ago, or maybe yesterday. Time is strange when we talk about a broken heart. He or she had loved, not cautiously, not half-heartedly, but with everything, with a sacred naivete, with a pure hope, almost childlike. The kind of hope that believes love will repair what life has damaged. But that love, it wasn't healthy. It was too fast, too close, too based on an inner emptiness that we thought we could fill with another soul. And when it collapsed, it wasn't just a relationship that ended. It was an entire universe that was suddenly erased. You know that moment, don't you? When your heart becomes a cold room. When you walk down the street and everyone moves on as if nothing is wrong, except you. You breathe, but each breath seems to steal a little more of your energy. You eat, you sleep, you answer, "I'm full." But inside, something has shut down. He or she has been through it. It wasn't just a heartbreak. It was a spiritual collapse, a questioning of everything. Why did I give so much? Why was I so blind? Why did Allah let this happen? Sleepless nights, whispered prayers, and sometimes, no words, just tears. But it was precisely there, in that silent desolation, that something began to be reborn. Not right away, not spectacularly, but slowly, gently, like a faint light at the end of a tunnel. He or she stopped looking for someone and started looking for God. Really. Not to beg him to bring the other back, not to ask him for a quick replacement, but to understand, to heal, to no longer collapse before a human heart, but to rise thanks to a celestial bond. You know, sometimes love breaks you, so that you never love dependently again. He or she learned to live alone, but not in bitterness, in rebuilding, in listening to yourself, in closeness to the one who never gives up. There were days of doubt, temptations to start over, to fill that void with other faces. But nothing worked. Because once you've tasted emptiness, you know that no human can fill it. He or she learned to get up without being expected, to smile without needing to be admired, to pray not to obtain someone, but to become someone. And then, without knowing it, an intention was formed, not a hastily offered prayer, a deep, silent invocation from the heart. O Allah, send me someone who knows you more than he wants me, someone who brings me closer to you, someone who will not choose me for my image but for my soul. This invocation was sent, like a heavenly letter sealed with sincere tears. And this letter, it was received by the invisible. And while you move forward in your own life, you sometimes feel a strange warmth when you hear certain words, like these, because maybe, without knowing it, you're crossing his path. This broken heart, mended by silence and faith, this heart that no longer waits for just anyone, this heart was looking for you, and you, in this moment, you hear these words. You don't know why, but you feel something stir inside. Not a fleeting emotion, an old thrill, a hope you had almost buried. Something deep inside you begins to believe again. 3. When you thought it was over. You almost gave up. You didn't tell anyone, but you know exactly what I'm talking about. You've already said to yourself, maybe this isn't for me. You looked around you. You saw people getting married, falling in love, moving on. And you just stood there, pickling up invisible pieces, pretending you didn't care. But deep down, there was that silent scream. That kind of pain that can't be seen, but consumes you from the inside out. You began to wonder if this was a punishment, if you had missed something, if Allah had turned away His mercy. You even doubted yourself, to the point of thinking that maybe you weren't made for love. But look at yourself. Look closely. You're still here, still standing. Not because you're strong, not because you figured it all out, but because He kept you standing. Even when you no longer believed in yourself, He still believed in what He had placed within you. You didn't stand alone. It was He who carried you into the invisible. And what you don't know is that your solitude was never forgotten. It was seen, not by people, not by likes, glances, or invitations, but by the one who knows your heart better than you know yourself. He saw the nights you turned to Him without words, just sighs. He saw the times you helped others while you yourself were empty. He saw that emotional exhaustion, the kind that doesn't come from the body, but from the soul. And He forgot nothing. Nothing. Do you think nothing is moving? That you're stuck in a cycle of endless waiting? But you're forgetting one thing. Sometimes, Allah's silence is the greatest of movements. Just because you don't see anything doesn't mean nothing is happening. It's just that what's being prepared for you can't be rushed. This isn't a superficial love. This is a meeting of souls. And that can't be improvised. You look at the calendar, but Allah, hey, looks at your heart. And when your heart becomes sincere, sincere in its quest, sincere in its intention, sincere in its faith, then the delay is no longer a punishment, it's a refinement. You think you're waiting for the right person, but maybe that person is waiting for you as you are becoming, not you of yesterday, not you of the emergency, but you after the storm, you after understanding, you capable of loving without losing yourself, you capable of remaining even when the other doubts. And maybe it's this you that God is giving birth to, in silence, in the invisible, in the pain that no one sees, but that He weaves with wisdom. So no, it's not over. What you're experiencing right now is not an end. It's a slow birth, a rebirth. But like everything of value, it happens in secret. And this secret may be about to blossom. 4. He or she is already on his way. Imagine a vast, silent, infinite desert. And in the middle of this void, 2 stars move slowly, each on their own, still unaware that they are destined to cross paths. You are one of them, and the other is moving towards you, even if you see nothing, even if each day is like the last, even if you think nothing is happening. Someone, somewhere, is learning to breathe without dependence. Someone, out there, is beginning to understand that solitude is not abandonment, but a school. This person is healing their wounds like you. They are learning to know themselves. They are trying to break out of their patterns. They fail. They start again. She falls to her knees and whispers, "O Allah, show me if pure love still exists." And Allah, in His mercy, lifts her up, not to let her continue alone, but to entrust her to you. Not yet, but soon. What you are each building invisibly is already a bridge, a road paved with invocations, healed scars, sleepless nights, silent forgiveness, and new beginnings. It is no accident. It is a weaving, stitch by stitch, thread by thread, a divine design. Do you think you are waiting? But you too are moving forward. You move forward every time you reject what does not elevate you. You move forward every time you choose patience over haste. You move forward every time you choose to pray, even when your heart is dry. And he or she over there does the same, sometimes in the same moments, sometimes in the same silent hours of the night. Your souls seek each other without yet naming each other. But the one who created you, He has already chosen the place of the intersection, the moment, the look that will change everything. And that moment, it draws near, not because of you, not because of the other, but because the script is already written. You are not living an empty wait. You are living a sacred journey. It is not a beautiful story. It is a heavenly story. A story written long before you understood the word love. Your name, His name, woven into a single line, at the heart of the matrix of life. And since your first breath, every pain has brought you closer. Every prayer has brought you closer. Every silence, every doubt, every trial has never been a detour. It was the exact path. So the next time you doubt, close your eyes and imagine someone at this very moment is thinking about giving up, until Allah calls them back to your existence, an existence they don't yet know, but which their heart is beginning to sense. 5. What if you're not ready? But how will I know it's Him? You won't see it with your eyes. You'll recognize Him in your calm. What if I'm wrong? What comes from Allah doesn't bring confusion. It soothes, even in the midst of doubt. But what if I miss it? What is truly written for you can't slip through your fingers, but what is rushed can become poison. So, what do? You work on your heart, not for the other person, for yourself. You stop looking for love as a solution, and you start seeing it as a responsibility. You mean love won't fix everything? Marriage doesn't mend a heart. It doesn't heal deep wounds. He reveals them, He exposes them, He lays them bare. So if you arrive at love in pieces, you risk hurting the other person by wanting them to save you. But I've made an effort. Why isn't it there yet? Because it's not effort that opens the door. The time has come. And the time comes when your heart can contain what it asks for. Do you want a stable union? Become strong internally. Do you want a relationship where you are understood? Learn to understand yourself first. What if I don't know where to start? Start by asking yourself the real questions. Do I want to get married out of fear of being alone? Or do I want to share a faith, a path, a future in the name of Allah? But I'm afraid. It's not love that's scary. It's the idea of reliving old pain. But the one who's for you won't need you to be perfect. Just sincere. Just open to growth. What if I'm not enough? You'll never be enough in the eyes of insecurity, but you are exactly what's needed in Allah's plans. He shapes your story like a craftsman. He polishes your edges. He places strengths within you that you don't even see yet. So, I just have to wait? No, you have to prepare. It's not the same. Waiting is staying still. Preparing is building yourself. Do you want a blessed relationship? Make yourself capable of blessing the other, not just receiving them. What if I can't do it? You don't have to do it alone. There is He who sees your intention, He who measures your silent tears, He who knows what you tell no one. He hasn't forgotten you. He adjusts you. He aligns you. He doesn't delay your happiness. He elevates it to your level. What if I'm not ready yet? Then bless this time, for it protects you. For what you call delay is perhaps proof that God loves you too much to give you something you are not yet capable of carrying. And if you knew what He is aligning for you, you would even thank Him for every second of waiting.
6. What you must understand today. You say you want a godly spouse. You want a love that lifts you up, not wears you down. A bond where you cling to God more than to the image of the other. A marriage that feels like inner security, not a constant struggle. It's not a naive dream. It's not a utopia from books. It's not reserved for a select few whom Allah has favored more than you. It's possible, real, achievable, but it's not free. To have this kind of love, you must first stop calling love a victim. You must stop begging the universe to send you someone, because pure love doesn't respond to a begging heart. It responds to a shining heart, and that light cannot be bought. It must be cultivated, in secret, in silence, in prayer, in inner struggle. You must understand today what you want is a sacred gift, and sacred gifts are placed in the hands of those who know how to care for them. If you want a pious spouse, start by becoming a pious spouse, not in theory, not in your bio, but in your solitude, in your management of frustration, in your relationship with your body, in your connection with God when no one is looking. You may believe that waiting is an injustice, but perhaps it's a grace. You think it's slow, but Allah doesn't measure time like you do. It measures depth. And what you want requires depth, not just sweet words or easy complicity, but discipline, balance, light. Look around you. How many have chased love, only to end up emptier than before? How many have rushed in, thinking they'd fill a void, and dug a chasm instead? You want something else? You want a love that's aligned, guided, stable. So your soul must learn to be full enough to welcome the other without drowning in it. Because a true marriage, it's not two halves desperately searching for each other. It's two whole hearts finding each other without confusion, without panic, without having to deny God to keep each other. And to get there, you must work that inner garden that no one sees. This invisible place where your peace grows, where you choose silence over likes, where you say no to a toxic relationship, even if your heart thirsts for love. Do you want to know if you're ready? Ask yourself if today you can welcome someone without making them your oxygen. If you can love without abandoning yourself. If you can stay centered on God, even when love presents itself. Because pure love, the one you call out to in your nights, will never be there to fill you. It will be there to walk beside you, not to save you, but to support you on the path. And when your heart recognizes this, when it is strong enough to love without losing itself, filled enough with light to attract what is true, only then, Allah will open the door. You won't be alone forever. But before that person enters your life, you must enter yours. Allah has never forgotten you. He is preparing something specific. If this message touched your heart, it's not by chance. Share this video with someone who needs to hear it. Leave a comment. Tell me where you are and how you feel after watching. Subscribe if you want more sincere, profound reminders rooted in your faith. And remember, what God has in store for you is always more beautiful than you imagine.